SS St. Louis was a transatlantic passenger liner built by the William Cramp and Amp Sons Building and Amp Engine Company, Philadelphia, and was launched on the 12th of November 1894, sponsored by Mrs. Grover Cleveland, wife of the President of the United States, and entered merchant service in 1895, under United States Registry for the International Navigation Co. of New York, with her maiden voyage between New York and Southampton, England. She was acquired by the United States Navy during the Spanish-American War and commissioned under the name US St. Louis in 1898, and again during World War I under the name US Louisville from 1918 to 1919. After she reverted to her original name in 1919, she burned in 1920 while undergoing a refit. She was scrapped in 1924 in Genoa. Service history: Spanish-American War. On a later voyage following the outbreak of the Spanish-American War, St. Louis was chartered for naval service while at Southampton and returned to New York on the 22nd of April 1898. Armed with 4 5-inch rapid-fire guns and 8 6-pounders, she was commissioned as an auxiliary cruiser in the United States Navy on the 24th of April. Captain Caspar F. Goodrich in command, manned by 27 officers and 350 men. She put to sea on the 30th of April for the Caribbean. St. Louis was specially outfitted with heavy draglines in order to destroy undersea cable communications in the West Indies and to the mainland of South America. On the 13th of May, she severed the cable between St. Thomas and San Juan, and 5 days later exchanged fire with the Morro Castle batteries at Santiago de Cuba as she cut the cable between that port and Hollands Bay, Jamaica. When Admiral Pascual Cervera's fleet sailed into Santiago harbor, the Spanish warships found themselves cut off from direct communications with Spain. St. Louis next severed the cable between Guantanamo Bay and Haiti, then cut the cable off Cienfuegos to isolate Cuba from outside communications. She joined in the bombardment of fortifications at Caymanara in Guantanamo Bay on the 3rd of June, captured a Spanish merchant ship on the 10th, intercepted 2 British ships bound for Cuba, the Twickenham on the 10th of June and Wherry on the 1st of July, and was present at the Battle of Santiago de Cuba on the 3rd of July when the Spanish fleet was destroyed while trying to force its way to sea. St. Louis received many prisoners of war, including Admiral Cervera, for internment in the United States, and landed them at Portsmouth, N.H. on the 11th of July. She steamed south from Norfolk on the 28th to cruise among ports of Puerto Rico and Cuba until the 10th of August, then sailed for New York where she arrived on the 14th. She shifted to Philadelphia on the 24th of August to enter the Cramp shipyard for preparation for return to her owners. St. Louis was decommissioned on the 2nd of September and was turned over to Mr. J. Parker, a representative of the American lines. World War I. For many years, SS St. Louis was prominent as a passenger liner between New York and Liverpool. On the 17th of March 1917, she was furnished an armed guard of 26 United States Navy sailors and armed with 3 6-inch guns, to protect her from enemy attack as she continued her New York to Liverpool service. On the 30th of May, while proceeding up the Irish Sea and skirting the coast of England, she responded rapidly to the orders, hard starboard, at the sighting of a periscope, and succeeded in dodging a torpedo while apparently striking the submarine which fired it. Later dry dock examination revealed that 18 feet of her keel rubbing strake had been torn away. On the 25th of July, her gunners exchanged fire with a surfaced U-boat some 3 miles away, and sighted many near misses. On the 17th of April 1918, St. Louis was delivered to the Navy at New York to be wholly manned and operated by the Navy as a troop transport. She was renamed Louisville, as a cruiser named St. Louis was already in service in the Navy. Louisville was commissioned on the 24th of April. Louisville first put to sea on the 12th of October bound for Portland and Southampton, England, and returned to New York on the 7th of January 1919. For then until the 19th of August of that year, she made 6 voyages from New York to Liverpool or to Brest, France, to return American soldiers from the Great War. On the 20th of August, she shifted to Norfolk and was decommissioned there on the 9th of September 1919. She was returned to her owner on the 11th and resumed her original name, St. Louis. Destruction. To be reconditioned as a passenger liner, St. Louis entered a shipyard at Hoboken, N.J., where early in January 1920, a workman's blowtorch set her afire. After control of the fire was lost, she was scuttled alongside the dock and allowed to burn out. She was later refloated and taken over by insurance underwriters. Over the next 5 years, under ownership of various investors, she lay at docks in different parts of New York Harbor. Finally, she was sold in 1925, and 2 Dutch tugs towed her to Italy where she was scrapped by an Italian salvage company.